What's up, guys? Mike Patrick. In this video, I want to talk about nootropics, and I want to talk about the energy drinks that I share quite often on my Facebook page. For those of you who might be catching this video and you also are subscribed to my Facebook page, then you know that I often share what I call like these little Dollar Tree hacks. And so Dollar Tree sells a lot of good energy drinks, and they keep getting them in. And so what I'll do is I look at it as a hack because, you know, with things being so expensive, like with inflation and things like that, it's always good to try to find a good deal, right? Save some money and still get quality in our products, correct? So I always show those little Dollar Tree hacks, and most of the time it's energy drinks. It'd be other drinks, but most of the time energy drinks, okay? And so what I want to talk about is how those energy drinks are affecting the brain, or maybe not so much how, but why they affect the brain, and just give a perspective and a theory that I think is just some good original content that makes sense, and just something for you to think about, okay? So, and a lot of those energy drink guys, for one, many of them, if not all of them that I've showed, is zero sugar, which is a good thing, okay? From my experience, from my research, sugar is one of our biggest downfalls, okay? Natural sugar is probably a good thing, like natural sugar cane, but I don't think we was meant to have sugar in almost everything. I think we just get way too much sugar. So whether even if it's natural sugar cane or whether it's processed sugar, we just have, you know, the convenience of the modern day. We just have way too much access to sugar, and we eat it way more than we are supposed to. All right? And sugar is addictive to the brain, okay? And we know that sugar is responsible for a lot of health issues, not just diabetes, but man, sugar probably cuts down on the human lifespan, and is responsible for it and contributes to it, the cut down, way more than we probably even give it credit for. So it's one of those things, if you can start to wean yourself off of it, then it's good. So people with the different sweeteners, people, well, you know how it is. People gonna always find a way to find something bad about something, or have some negative information about something. And in turn, this may be the lobbyists or the people who they sell a lot of sugar products in the first place. So you gotta be mindful of where your information is coming from and what they may be trying to achieve. Okay, but from my experience, man, a lot of those different sweeteners, or I don't want to say a lot of them because it may not be a lot of them, but the different sweeteners that you can get, the sugar alternatives, and that they put in a lot of the energy drinks, appear to be healthier. They go straight to the gut, many of them, and they don't spike your blood sugar, okay? And they still give you that sweet taste to your senses, to help you, you know, so everything won't taste bland, because all of us at this point is pretty much have a sugar addiction, right? So I'm excited to see how down the line in my life, if I can maintain a lifestyle of very, very minimum sugars and things like that, and not getting too much sugar in my system, how that may affect my health for the better, and possibly life extension. You know, I mean, it may be a testimony to how detrimental sugar is to us, even though it is so prevalent in our way of life, okay, and all the things that we eat, carbs and different, you know, and things that break down into sugar. All right, so just it's just my personal thing to try to not have so much carbs. You know what I mean? Be mindful how many carbs I'm taking in, and being mindful of how much sugar I'm taking in, and seeing how much I can wean myself off, okay? And see what it does for me down the line. All right. The thing is, so that's one thing about the sugars, that a lot of them are 0 calorie. I mean, 0 calorie, but also 0 sugars, okay? And so, also, though, they all have nootropics in them, okay? They all have things that are beneficial to our brains in them. Hence, they energy drinks. Because the only reason that energy drinks got a bad rap in the first place was when they first came out, many of them had too much sugar in them. You know what I'm saying? But caffeine is not necessarily bad for you. There's a lot of antioxidants. There's been studies that there's antioxidant properties of caffeine. There's also caffeine. It stimulates focus, okay, memory, and things like that. Things that have to do with cognition, okay. But we know some of the other downsides of caffeine, like jitters and things like that. So in moderation, but generally caffeine is a good thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just too much caffeine. All right, that can be a bad thing. And so that's basically what energy drinks consist of. But like I said, now to get into it, a lot of these energy drinks are becoming way more of a beneficial supplement, okay? And I'm anxious to see how it affects us down the line, and people who do keep up with these things and study these things and practice these things, and it's a lifestyle, to see what it may be able to do for us down the line, or how it may be able to maintain us. Because there's a lot of nootropics in a lot of these newer energy drinks, okay? And they just seem to be super drinks, if that makes sense. And so nootropics, like I said, these are things that help, substances that help your brain. Things that your brain use anyway, and that we generally get it through food, and maybe not so much these days, or not so much at all. We just have, from a good standpoint, we have access to a lot of things that we didn't. You know what I mean? In the past. So it's a lot of things that's good for the brain that in nature and before we didn't have an abundance of it or enough of it to really see its benefit. But now we are able to get our hands on these things much more easily and in more quantities. And so we able to try to maximize what it's able to do for us. So with the nootropics, a lot of the energy drinks have like things like acetylcholine in them, and they have different little patents, you know what I mean? So different energy drinks have different blends of brain boosting nootropic ingredients, okay? And so I share those because I've been drinking them for a while now. I think they help with my cognition, like I said. And we always, things that you do is not necessarily for the moment. It's not necessarily a quick fix. It's to see how it may benefit you down the line. A lot of these different nootropics can prevent some of the stuff that is ailing a lot of people nowadays as they get a little older. So in a lifestyle of trying to maintain youthfulness and health and things like that, prioritizing those things, we also, not just our body and having our body look good and, you know, and be in shape and muscular and fit and you know, keeping our weight down and manageable and things like that, skin, hair, you know what I mean, whatever it is that you are, you know, if you're trying to maintain a level of youthfulness, we also got to think in terms of our brain too. All right. Our brain obviously is what controls everything else. You know what I mean? So if we give our brain everything it needs, then who knows what type of good health we're setting ourselves up for, not necessarily just in the present, but also in the future. Okay, so like I was saying, a lot of these things, just to give some examples, like acetylcholine is great for the brain. You can find choline in things like eggs, you know what I mean, and other foods. But when you get in these energy drinks, you get them in more of a concentrated volume. And if you're drinking it over time, you know what I mean? So you get things like the choline. What's some other things off the top of my head that's in some of these drinks? Like I said, you just got different patented blends. You can look up different brain boosting nootropics. Okay, I'm not making this video specifically about the ingredients of the nootropics, but what they are and what they do. And so look at your brain, look at your body. We look at the body as what? A temple, as a vehicle, right? That we navigate our soul and our spirit through, right? So, and we know that just like a car, you have to keep fuel in it. You have to keep certain fluids in your car to keep everything running the correct way, right? So, and if your car don't have all the proper things, you know what I mean, then the maintenance breaks down on the car and it doesn't run as smoothly or as best as it could, or it doesn't last as long as it could, right? So look at your body. So you look at your body like that. So that's why we got to put good foods and good fuel in the body, right? So, but look at it now. Like I said, this video is specifically talking about your brain and enhancing your brain, because that's so important for some of us. You know what I mean? Maximizing our brain capacity and potential and feeding it the right things. So that's why I wanted to do this video, because I also wanted to tie it in with the fact that your brain is like your body in general. That's why we have nerves all throughout our body. You heard me say this before in another nootropic video I did, where that your brain is an antenna, okay? And we have everything, every second, every moment, your brain is firing off, even when we sleep, it's firing off different communication, different nerve signals, different signals back and forth through the brain, all throughout the body. Okay, so you have to give your brain all the physical things that it needs and all the different chemicals it needs so it can operate at its full capacity, at its best potential, and maintain itself, right? So, tying it in spiritually, I like to think of it and look at this is more so theory and things like that, but I think it serves for original content and something to think about. Like, you want your antenna to be on point. You want to have that super antenna. You want to have the best antenna that can get all the channels, right? You know what I mean? The better your antenna, right? The more channels you can get. Some people pride themselves on stuff like that. Like, I got my TV, I get 1,000 channels. You see what I'm saying? Things like that. And so when you take care of that brain, I believe, in my theory, it helps with your spirituality. Because when you're giving your brain everything it needs, and when you're giving your glands everything it needs, okay, and you put these things together, then you are a better receiver when it comes to the spiritual world, as being an antenna, a transmitter, and a receiver, okay. So that's why. So I think that makes the point, ties it all in. So that's why I be sharing those nootropic energy drinks. A lot of good ingredients, and a lot of them always have a lot of little side ingredients that's good for you too. You know what I mean? That's not just cognitive. You know what I mean? Some of them have other little things in it that's good for you. Like, matter of fact, I get a good one from the Dollar Tree that also has like collagen in it. So sometimes they'll always throw other little stuff in there that's just beneficial and that's good. That's just a healthy extra, you know what I mean? Perk, I guess you could say. And it helps with hydration. Drink your water too, because you're drinking caffeine. So caffeine is a diuretic, which can be a good thing to flush out, you know what I mean, things out your system. But also diuretics and caffeine can dry you out. So all you gotta do to negate that is you should be drinking enough water anyway, and other types of fluids like juices and things like that anyway, and eating water-rich foods anyway. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's all about balance and putting it all together, and not too much of one thing and not enough of the other. You know what I mean? But generally, you hydrating yourself with the energy drinks anyway, and if you're drinking water, you're getting the benefits of the caffeine, the cognitive, and the other benefits that caffeine gives your body, and all the different nootropics. Keep that brain, keep that brain healthy, keep that antenna, you know what I mean, functioning the best that it can, and maximizing it, and see where you can go from there, and keeping and staying focused, you know what I mean, because as a receiver and a transmitter, you know what I mean, especially for those of us that are aware of this, we have to be careful what we allow in. You know what I mean? Because we will transmit back out. You see what I mean? So that's why you want to keep your vibes and your frequency and your information on a level that you want to be transmitting. If that makes sense. You see what I mean? Like, I'm doing this video. You know, this is a certain frequency and a certain transmission. You see what I mean? That I'm putting out into the airwaves. You know what I mean? But look at it. So just look at this is a good video for the energy drinks and looking at it that way and seeing and just giving you another perspective of how it can not only help you mentally and physically, you know what I mean, in the you know, your physics, but also your spiritual and soul. You know what I mean? How you can use it to focus through on your meditation. You know what I mean? Your prayers. And when you're studying, that's generally when we think of energy drinks and what we use them for is for stuff like that. When you're doing your work, whatever work it is that you do, and you're studying and your research to enhance that, you know what I mean? Because that's what a lot of the nootropics are good for, is for retention, memory, and things like that. It helps with all that. Anything that's mental, okay? All right, guys. Hopefully this was a good video. Peace.